أفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على سيدنا ونبينا وحبيبنا ومولانا وقرة أعيننا سيدنا محمد إمام الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين وأصحابه المهتدين وتابعين لهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد، نوينا التعلم والتعليم والتذكر والتذكير والنفع والانتفاع والإفادة والاستفادة والحث على التمسك بكتاب الله وسنة رسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم، الدعاء إلى الهدى والدلالة على الخير، ابتغاء وجه الله وقربه ومرضاته وثوابه سبحانه وتعالى. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. أما بعد، الحمد لله, وصلنا, we have arrived at, or we've reached chapter 3 of this beautiful book, Risalat Adab Suluk al-Murid, where our beloved Imam Habib Abdullah bin Ali al-Haddad, he says, فصل نفعنا الله بعلومه وعلوم سائر الصالحين في الدارين آمين. وعد المريد أن يجتهد في حفظ قلبه من الوساوس والآفات والخواطر الردية، وليقم على باب قلبه حاجبا من المراقبة يمنعها من الدخول إليه، فإنها إن دخلته أفسدته ويعسر بعد ذلك إخراجها منه. وليبالغ في تنقية قلبه الذي هو موضع نظر ربه جل جلاله من الميل إلى شهوات الدنيا ومن الحقد والغل والغش لأحد من المسلمين ومن الظن السوء بأحد منهم، وليكن ناصحا لهم رحيما بهم مشفقا عليهم معتقدا الخير فيهم، يحب لهم ما يحب لنفسه من الخير ويكره لهم ما يكره لنفسه من الشر. تفضل سيدي.
Bismillah. A disciple should strive to guard his heart against insinuations, ailments, and bad thoughts. He should guard its gate by constant vigilance and prevent these things from penetrating within, or should they do so, they will ruin it, and it will be difficult to expel them. He should purify his heart, which is the place his Lord's gaze falls upon, from worldly desires, spite, rancor, deceitfulness, or thinking ill of any Muslims. Rather, he must provide good advice to them, being compassionate and merciful. He must think well of them all, desiring for them whatever good he desires for himself, and disliking for them whatever evil he dislikes for himself.
Alhamdulillah. So this is the third chapter. The chapter before it, where Sidi Shaykh Zakaria went through, was Tawbah. And we all know that this book, the whole purpose of this book is Imam Haddad speaking to the Murid. He's speaking to one that seeks Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Murid is the one that seeks Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yuridu mada? Yuridu Allah. He wants Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the first step in taking that path is at-tawbah al-khalisa, is repenting to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then he says, وَعَلَمْ أَيُّهَا الْمُرِيدُ أَنْ يَجْتَهِدَ فِي حِفْظِ قَلْبِهِ. He should do jihad, ijtihad, which is a sense of jihad, or a type of jihad. He should try his best, and he should struggle in what? In حفظ قلبه, preserving his heart, right? Because your heart is your most important part of your body. فأنت بالقلب لا بالجسم إنسان. You are what makes you human, what makes you noble, what makes you significant is because of your heart, right? Not because of your body. So it is the most important part. Suppose, for example, we never opened our eyes. We never once opened our eyes. هل خسرت شيء? Did you lose anything? Right? Suppose you never used your hands, your arms. هل خسرت شيئا? Like, suppose you've never had a قلب حي. You've never had a heart that is alive. قلبك ميت. You've lived 60 years on the face of this or surface of this earth. You've lived 70 years, and your heart never once تعرف على Allah. It never once was awake. And you've lost everything. Right? فأنت بالقلب لا بالجسم إنسان. Because the heart, al-qalb, it rules the whole body. It's the king of even the brain. يعني العقل. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He tells us, لهم قلوب لا يعقلون بها. لهم قلوب لا يعقلون بها. They have hearts. They don't use it. Because the aql is controlled by the heart. The kuffar, the disbelievers, Allah tells us that in the Day of Judgment they will say, وَقَالُوا لَوْ كُنَّا نَسْمَعُ أَوْ نَعْقِلُ مَا كُنَّا مِنْ أَصْحَابِ السَّعِيرِ. If we were to use our brains. Because the brain can tell you, right? It can tell you what's right from what's wrong. But then following that, right, is, we have, for instance, some people that know what's right from what's wrong. In fact, Allah tells us in the previous ummah, the previous nations, al-ummah al-sabiqa, He tells us that they know what's right from what's wrong. وَاسْتَيْقَنَتْهَا أَنفُسُهُم وَاسْتَيْقَنَتْهَا وَجَحَدُوا بِهَا وَاسْتَيْقَنَتْهَا أَنفُسُهُم. They chose not to believe it, despite them having certainty. They were certain that this is the right. This is the yaqeen. Where's yaqeen? Yaqeen is in the aql. وَجَحَدُوا بِهَا وَاسْتَيْقَنَتْهَا أَنفُسُهُم. Right? That's why the Prophet ﷺ, he says, Allahumma, in his du'as, one of his du'as, Allahumma arina al-haqqa haqqan. Right? Oh Allah, let us see what's haqq. Because you can see what's haqq, but you don't know it's haqq. You can see what's true, you don't know what's true. So he says, oh Allah, show us the truth and let us know that it's truth. But he doesn't stop here. وَرْزُقْنَا اتِّبَاعَهُ. Let us then follow it. Let us know that this is haqq. Let us believe that this is haqq and give us the tawfiq to follow it. وَأَرِنَا الْبَاطِلَ بَاطِلًا. And show us false as false. Don't show us the false as truth, but show us the false as false. وَأَرِنَا الْبَاطِلَ بَاطِلًا وَرْزُقْنَا اجْتِنَابَهُ. And give us the tawfiq to leave it. Right? Because lakin Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what does He say in the ayah that I mentioned? وَاسْتَيْقَنَتْهَا أَنفُسُهُم. Why? ظُلْمًا وَعُلُوًّا. They had takabbur. They had takabbur, and he will come and mention this. Al-kibr min amrad al-qulub is one of the diseases of the heart. Is al-kibr, right? How does one have arrogance? Do they have arrogance with using their hands? Where is al-kibr? It's in the heart. It's one of the sicknesses of the heart. So, أيها al-Murid, O seeker, ijtahid, try your best, your very best. في حفظ قلبك, to preserve your heart. من الوساوس والآفات والخواطر الرديئة, from all waswasa. Because there are khawatir, there are things that come to the heart, whispers of the shaitan that would come to the heart. In fact, the Prophet ﷺ, he says in the hadith, أنه تعرض الفتن على القلوب عودا عودا, or عودا عودا. There's two riwayat, there's two narrations, meaning that the fitan, جمع fitna, it's the plural of fitna. Fitnas will come to the heart every now and then. عودا means يعود, it comes again and again, right? Or عودا means like branch after branch. Every now and then you will have a waswasa in your heart, right? You will have a khatira, whisper in your heart. فَمَنْ أَشْرَبَهَا, right? Who listens to these wasawis, who accepts these whispers and listens to them, right? نكتت في قلبه نكتة أو نقطة سوداء. Meaning that if you accept these whispers, because how does one sin? First he thinks about it. And where does this thought come from? It comes from the shaitan, his waswasa, right? and from the nafs. All that's in the heart. All that is in the heart. You see, shaitan, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he, shaitan doesn't know what's in our hearts. He doesn't have that capability, or he doesn't have that ability to see what's in your heart. All he can do is just whisper. That's why in the Day of Judgment, what does he say? He has a mimbar في 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 قاع يعني جهنم. He has a mimbar in the middle of Jahannam, right? A mimbar where he speaks. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala narrates this khutbah for us, or the shaitan. He says, لا تلوموني علوموا أنفسكم. Don't blame me, all right? But blame yourselves. Why? I had no control over you. All I did was, I called you, I whispered to you, استجبتم لي. You've answered my call. You've answered my call. You chose to follow me. You chose to listen. لا تلوموني ولوموا أنفسكم ما أنا بمصرخكم وما أنتم بمصرخي. I can't help you and you can't help me, right? Like when we choose to not listen to him, when we choose to listen to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, يا أيها الذين آمنوا استجيبوا لله. Oh you who believe, يعني answer Allah's call. استجيبوا لله وللرسول إذا دعاكم لما يحييكم. Right? Answer Allah's call and the Prophet's call when they call you to what gives you life. When we listen to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when we listen to the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the guidance of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it gives us life. It gives us life. It gives us life. It gives our heart. It revives our hearts. أَوَ مَنْ كَانَ مَيْتًا, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us. أَوَ مَنْ كَانَ مَيْتًا فَأَحْيَيْنَاهُ. Someone that was dead, we brought life to him. وَجَعَلْنَا لَهُ نُورًا يَمْشِي بِهِ فِي النَّاسِ. And we gave him light. He walks on the surface of this earth. He walks between people. He walks amongst people with nur. Where is nur? Nur is first in the heart. That's why the Prophet ﷺ's dua every fajr, Allahumma ja'alni nuran fi qalbi, wa nuran fi wajhi, wa nuran fi sha'ri, wa nuran fi basari, wa nuran fi sam'i, wa nuran. In the riwayah, wa ja'alni nura, wa ja'alni nura, wa ja'alni nura, and make me light. Like, and it starts from where? It starts from the heart. Yani if your heart is dark, mudlim, right? أَنَّا يَكُونُ لَكَ نُورٌ. How will you have any source of nur? Right? And then another ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, يَجْعَلْ لَكُمْ نُورًا تَمْشُونَ بِهِ. يَجْعَلْ لَكُمْ نُورًا تَمْشُونَ بِهِ. You will guide people, but if you're not guided, how will you guide people? Right? As a murid, first you look at yourself, you clean yourself, you clean your heart, then you can be a source of nur. Then you can be a source of hidayah, of guidance, if you are guided. That's why when you're seeking a shaykh, you seek someone that you trust. Because why? Because he's cleaning your heart. If you have a kidney problem, for example, who do you go? You go to the best doctor. The best doctor that you know, this doctor, he has 5 stars, he's recommended by everybody. You know this doctor, because you will be his patient. If you have an eyes and you need eye surgery, you go to the best doctor. If you have a teeth, you want to go to the best dentist, right? When you have, when you want to seek Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when you want to clean your heart, who do you go? You just don't go to anybody. You go to someone that you put your trust in, one of the best mashayikh, one of the best sheikhs, someone that ينفعك حاله قبل أن ينفعك مقاله. Someone that will benefit you, his situation will benefit you before he even speaks. هكذا. Like nowadays we have so many mashayikh, so many scholars, so many teachers, right, that are not worthy of this title. وأنا أولهم, and I'm the first one of them. They came to Sayyidina Ibrahim bin Adham رضي الله عنه من القرن الثالث أو الرابع, in the 3rd or 4th century. And they من التابع التابعين, and they came to him and they said, يا إمام أو إمام لماذا لا تنفعنا الموعظة how come we go to reminders, we go to daily reminders where mashayikh are speaking, and we don't benefit from it. لا تنفعنا الموعظة. The موعظة, the reminder is not, we don't feel it. Right? What did he say? He said لأنه كان أول, right? Earlier كان الواعظ حيا, right? والموعوظ حي. The reminder was someone that was alive, someone that had a heart that was alive. والموعوظ, and the one that was listening to the reminder was also someone that was alive, right? The Prophet ﷺ, he was alive, and the Sahaba, they were alive, right? Sahaba came and they were speaking to the Tabi'een. The Sahaba, they had hearts that were full of life. And the Tabi'een, they were alive. أما في زماننا, he says, in our time, فالواعظ نائم. The one that's reminding is asleep. والموعوظ, and the ones that are listening to the reminder, they're ميتين, they're dead. They're dead. What if he came now, 2024? كل الموعوظ ميت والواعظ ميت, كلنا أموات. We're all dead. Imam Ali bin Abi Talib, he says, الناس موتى وأهل العلم أحيا. Right? People are dead, but the people, except for those of Ahlul Ilm, right? Those are people of knowledge, they are alive. And what's ilm? What is the ilm he's talking about? It's not يعني كم تحفظ, كم how much you've memorized, how many mutun you have, how many Allahumma salli ala sayyidina Muhammad shuruhat, even hawashi that you've studied. No. العلم ما وقر في القلب وانتفعت به. Ilm is something that has settled in the heart and that you have benefited from. العلم بالأحوال وليس بالأقوال وكثرة الجدال. Ilm is something that we see it in you. We see this knowledge in you. It's not أقوال يعني قال. We have now even small memory cards, 2,000 gigas, 3,000 gigas. If ilm was just أقوال, if ilm was just how much you know, نقول this is عالم, this memory card is عالم, right? Yeah. The Sahaba, the Prophet ﷺ, when he passed away, it was Allahumma salli ala Muhammad, more than 120,000 Sahaba. Fath Makkah, when the Prophet ﷺ came to open Makkah, Ghazwat Fath Makkah, he came with an army. عددهم كما يذكرون أهل السيرة, like the scholars of Seerah have mentioned, that 120,000 Sahaba. Right? عدد الحفاظ منهم, the ones that have memorized the entire Quran, it was only roughly 10 Sahaba. 10 Sahaba. Why? Because كانوا يعظمون. They felt this sense of the more ayahs I memorize, right, the more responsibility it is, and the more I have to act upon it, and the more I have to. Because when that Bedouin man came to the Prophet ﷺ, and he became a Muslim, and the Prophet ﷺ told Sayyidina Mu'adh bin Jabal or Ahmad al-Sahaba to teach him something of the Quran. And so the Sayyidina Mu'adh bin Jabal sat with him, and they started. إذا زلزلت, he chose to teach him, say سورة إذا زلزلت إذا زلزلت الأرض زلزالها وأخرجت الأرض أثقالها وقال الإنسان ما لها يومئذ تحدث أخبارها. صاح, he screamed, the Arabi. Couldn't take it, he couldn't handle it. إذا زلزلت الأرض, when the earth starts to shake, when earthquakes happen everywhere. زلزلت الأرض زلزالها وأخرجت الأرض أثقالها, and the earth will throw out its treasures. Because he would not only listen, he would understand. He would understand what's being said. وَقَالَ الْإِنسَانُ مَا لَهَا. That day mankind will say, what's going on? What's happening? يَوْمَئِذٍ تُحَدِّثُ أَخْبَارَهَا. That's the day when earth will witness and say, you have done this on top of me. You have done that on top of me. It shook him. Because لماذا؟ لأنه فهم, because he understood. والعلم يتعشق بالفهم كما قال سيدنا عبد الفتاح الشيخ عبد الفتاح. It says that علم, knowledge is sweet when you understand it. العلم يتعشق بالفهم. Right? إذا فهمت المسألة, when you understand, how do you understand? You understand with your heart. You understand, how do you understand? Where do you understand from? You understand with your heart. لهم قلوب لا يعقلون بها. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us about the munafiqeen, the hypocrites. When they would sit with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they would come out and they would ask, يقول الذين أوتوا العلم ماذا قال آنفا. They would speak to the Sahaba, the rest of the Sahaba, and they would say, what did he just say? What do you mean, what did he just say? Weren't you there sitting? Weren't you there sitting? Because لا يفهمون. The أقوال, it slips them. لا يفهمون. They don't understand. Why don't they understand? Because their hearts are not clean. Their hearts are not pure. If you have a good heart, if you have a clean heart, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will put fahm inside. Will put fahm inside it. Right? But you have to first clean it. And this is what Imam Haddad is trying to tell us. ليقم على باب قلبه حاجبا من المراقبة. Let him put a haris, someone that is like a security guard in the door of your heart. And the heart has two doors. As-sama, the 2 ears, wal-basar, and the 2 eyes. Right? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you the ability to control it. And close your eyes from whatever la yudillah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why? Because he says, فإنها إن دخلته أفسدته ويعسر بعد ذلك إخراجها منه. When something enters the heart, it's harder to remove it. So they even say, الوقاية خير من العلاج. In English, it's better safe than sorry.
Prevention is better than cure.
Prevention is better than cure. Prevention is better than cure. When you start from the very beginning, from day one, no, I choose not. Why? Because like Shaykh Zakaria has mentioned, subhanAllah, and your heart is VIP. So only put imported, valuable stuff in it. It's not a place for everything. It's not a place for everyone. It's only a place for people that will help you in this path that you are seeking. It's only for those that will get you closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, get you closer to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now, وهذا يحتاج إلى صبر. This is not easy. This is not, this won't happen in 1 day. This won't happen in 2 days. This probably won't even happen in 20 years. Like al-Wali said, he said, جاهدت وكابدت قيام الليل 20 سنة. For 20 years, I have been struggling to wake up for qiyam al-layl. For 20 years, I have been struggling to wake up for qiyam al-layl. ثم تنعمت بها 20 سنة. Then for the next 20 years, I felt this, I tasted the sweetness of qiyam al-layl. I came في البداية. First, it becomes a shaykh, a jihad. This is a type of jihad. This is a type of jihad. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَالَّذِينَ جَاهَدُوا فِينَا لَنَهْدِيَنَّهُمْ سُبُلَنَا. Those that struggle towards us path, we will guide them. But when he sees this irada, when he sees this guidance in our hearts, when he sees this irada and this hunger and this sincere this sincere struggle, he sees that you are you're not faking it. He sees that you are real about it. Like if you are radi, you accept your heart to be filthy. What is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? He will let you stay in that way. In Surah Al-Baqarah he says, في قلوبهم مرض فَزَادَهُمُ اللَّهُ مَرَضًا. And their hearts is marad because they accepted it, and then they accepted it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increased marad, increased their hearts, increased this filthiness in their hearts. But when you have the desire to clean, والطريقة أولها إرادة, بدايتها إرادة. And he talks about it, Imam Hadari, in the beginning, that khatir, that bath is that niyyah, at least, the intention to clean. ومن فتح على نفسه باب نية صادقة أو صالحة فتح الله له 70 بابا من أبواب التوفيق. And the one that the scholars, they say that he has the intention, at least he intends. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will open 70 doors, many doors of tawfiq. Allah will assist. الذين جاهدوا فينا لنهدينهم سبلنا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala يوفقك, He will give you the tawfiq in even البعد عن المعاصي حتى إلى درجة العصمة. نعم, عصمة. There's two types of isma, they say. Isma is when we believe in our aqidah that the prophets are ma'soom. What does ma'soom mean? What does the word ma'soom mean? Ma'soom means that he has never committed a sin. He has never committed a sin in his life. Never committed a sin. And the sins of the heart are worse and more severe than the sins of the body, the limbs, the outward. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَذَرُوا ظَاهِرَ الْإِثْمِ وَبَاطِنَهُ. Right? Stay away from the outward sins and the inward sins. The inward sins are referring to the heart. Someone that has never committed a sin in their life, right? He's called adaban min bab al-adab, right? Because as Muslims and as Ahl Tawheed, we have adab even in our alfaz. We have adab and we have etiquette even in our speech, right? Min bab al-adab, we say mahfuz. This person is preserved. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hafidhahu min an yaqa'a fi dam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala preserved him from committing a sin. وإن كان في المعنى سواء. Ma'soom, what is ma'soom? Ma'soom is someone that has never committed a sin. We believe that our prophets are ma'soom. They've never committed a sin. And they cannot commit a sin. We have someone that has lived for 60 years and he's never committed a sin. Ma'soom. Man farq, what is the difference? The difference is al-anbiya, for the prophets, their isma, not for them not committing a sin, is wajibah. Allah. It's wajibah. They are not capable of committing a sin. أما في الولي الأولياء and the saints and المقربين الصالحين, the righteous, فهي جائزة. لكن العصمة الأنبياء واجبة. أما في الأولياء فجائزة. And another difference is العصمة في الأنبياء مقطوعة. And it's certain they can, like I said, they can never commit a sin. مقطوع بها, and they know they cannot commit a sin. أما الأولياء, as for the righteous, the saints, فمظنونة. مظنونة, what does مظنونة mean? They don't know. A wali, a true saint will not tell you, I don't have a sin. Because he doesn't know. Do you know that you are sinless? Nobody knows that they are sinless. A true scholar, a true believer, a true wali will not say, I am sinless. لا يعرف. He doesn't know. لا يعرف. أما النبي, as for the prophets, they know مقطوع, that they are sinless. Right? Now, وأيضا the third difference is the عصمة in the Anbiya, right? For them not committing a sin, هذا شريعة. This is a sharia. For them it's shara. They cannot commit a sin. أما الولي, as for the saint, maybe 60, 70 years he's never committed a sin. لكن قوله وفعله ليست شريعة. His فعل or his قول, his speech is not sharia. لا ينسخ ولا يرفع شيء. أما النبي, أما الأنبياء, right? أقوالهم وأفعالهم شريعة. أقوالهم وأفعالهم شريعة. And and هذا عقيدتنا. This is our عقيدة. This is the true تصوف. هذا هو التصوف الحقيقي. يقولون, they say that Sufis they don't take from the Sharia, they take from the from أقوال الأولياء, they take from dreams, they don't take from Kitab and Sunnah, they take from Ru'ya, they take from this is what Imam Ghazali يقرر. This is what Imam Nawawi يقرر. This is what Imam Nawawi clearly mentions. This is what Imam As-Suluki, As-Suyuti, Al-Rifa'i, Al-Jailani, Al-Naqshbandi. This is what they. This is the true Sufi. The true Sufism. This is what they say. Sharia comes after Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. They come first. And all the prophets. That's why ad-deen عند الله الإسلام. Since Adam alayhi salam. Since Nabiyuna wa Abina Adam alayhi salam. Until Khatam al-Anbiya. Until the last and seal of all of them. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Salawatullah alayhim jami'an. Kulluhum shari'atuhum. Their sharia is haqq. And they've all preached the same sharia, which is Islam. That's why something that was a sharia in a previous Nabi's in a previous prophet, his sharia, something that's in his sharia, cannot be something that is totally opposite in our sharia. Like for example, sharia Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salam wa Sayyidina Yaqub alayhi salam, right? Because he is a Nabi and he gave all of his children were Anbiya. Then the king Sayyidina Yusuf was a Nabi and a Rasul. Now we have something called Rasul and Nabi. What is a Nabi? What is a prophet? What is a messenger? We believe that every Nabi is a prophet. Every Nabi prophet is a messenger, Rasul. But not every messenger is a prophet. What's the difference between messenger and prophet? What's the difference between Rasul and Nabi? Kullu Nabi Rasul, meaning that Rajul. These are the conditions of a prophet to be a prophet. Rajul, he has to be a man. Hikmatullah. Not saying man is better than woman. Not saying male is better than female. لكن هذه حكمة الله وسنة الله سبحانه وتعالى التي فطر الناس عليها. That the conditions of a prophet to be a prophet is that he first has to be a man. رجل مكلف. What does مكلف mean? He's عاقل and he is بالغ. Someone that has reached purity, and he's someone that is sane. عاقل بالغ. أوحى الله إليه بشرع. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reveals to him the revelation, wahy. وَلَمْ يُؤْمَرْ بِالتَّبْلِيغ. But he is not commanded to preach. The only difference between a Nabi and a Rasul is that the Rasul is commanded to preach. So every Rasul is a Nabi, but not every Nabi is a Rasul. Does that make sense? He had 12 sons and Asbaq. They were all Anbiya. I can say that Yusuf was a Rasul. He was a Nabi and a Rasul. Right? When they came to Egypt, what did he say? يا أبتا, my father, هذا تأويل رؤياي من قبل. This is my dream when I had that you were, he had a sun and the moon and 12 stars, right, bowing down. This is what happened when they came to Egypt, because he became Aziz al-Misr, right? He became Aziz al-Misr. They all bowed down to him, including his father, Sayyidina Yaqub. They bowed down to Sayyidina Yusuf. What did they just do? They bowed down. Sujood, right? هل النبي يعصي? Does a prophet commit a sin? No. He just bowed down to a makhluk. He just bowed down to a makhluk. He bowed down to his son. He bowed down to Asjad. Why? Because in their sharia, it was permissible to bow down to someone other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? Where in our sharia, it's not permissible. Like we don't say shirk. You can come to a grave, for example, right? And you see some majdoub, someone that is darwish, we say, someone that is darwish, someone that is darwish, I don't know the English word for darwish, but he comes to the grave and he bows down to the grave. You say you have committed a sin, this is haram. Do we directly go and say this is a mushrik, this is a kafir? No, we don't say this is a kafir, this is a mushrik. Say, ya akhi, what you've done is a dhanb, this is a sin. Because shari'atuna umirna an nasjuda lillahi subhanahu wa ta'ala wahdahu. We are commanded to only bow down to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But we come and ask him, like, your intention when you came and bow down to this grave, is it because you believe that this is your creator, this is your Lord? If he says yes, then okay, now we have a problem. But if he says no, alhamdulillah, you are still a Muslim. You are this bid'ah. This is a bid'ah. He say, oh, the al-qubur tassawuf. Ya akhi, and to kafir you saying, oh, kafir, mushrik, that is the first bid'ah. Where do we see the Sahaba calling each other kafir? Or the Tabi'in calling each other kafir? Or akhafu ala ummati shirk. Prophet ﷺ, and he is the Prophet ﷺ, arham nas bin nas, most merciful and the most caring. He says in the hadith, la akhafu ala ummati shirk. I do not fear shirk for my ummah. Do not fear shirk. Do not fear shirk for my ummah. You are more careful to us than the Prophet ﷺ. You are more caring than the Prophet ﷺ. Right? You are more loving than the Prophet ﷺ. Right? But he says in the hadith, and this is a hadith, this is a very scary hadith. وَأَخْوَفُ مَا أَخَافُ عَلَى أُمَّتِي عُلَمَاءُ السُّوءِ. But what I fear the most for my ummah are the fake scholars. Ulama al-su, the bad scholars. What I was mentioning. The fake scholar, meaning the scholars that are not calling to Allah, they're preaching to themselves. Okay? You have a scholar, for example, that الناس تعطيه أموال, people will give him money, people will give him wealth باسم الدعوة, in the name of da'wah, in the name of sharia, in the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wa Rasulullah. Right? Next thing you know, they have mansions, they have Mercedes, they have luxury cars. Where did all this money go? Where did all this money go? Right? That's why you see people, they lack trust. People lack trust in the ulama. They don't know, and I don't blame them. Someone asked me, another sheikh. Another sheikh means another sariq, another thief. And this thief is even worse than a normal thief. Why? Because he steals dinak. He steals your deen, he steals your iman, he steals your heart, which is more valuable than your money. Right? If a thief comes and steals, breaks into your house and steals, if a thief comes, for instance, and comes and breaks into your house and steals from your, all you own, he left your house empty, right? But a fake sheikh comes and you give him your heart, you give him your تسلم له زمام أمرك. You put him in a position where he is your qibla and he steals that from you. What is worse? Which one is a greater thief? Okay. Prophet says, وَأَخْوَفُ مَا أَخَافُ عَلَى أُمَّتِي عُلَمَاءُ السُّوءِ دُعَاةٌ عَلَى أَبْوَابِ جَهَنَّمَ. They are preachers. That's why people they lack trust in the mashayikh. Right? That's why. لكن إذا أخلصت في التوكل على الله سبحانه وتعالى, if you are sincere in having your tawakkul in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, لكن you also choose wisely. Because like I said, if you have a tooth problem, you go to the best dentist. If you have a liver problem, you search for the best doctor. if you want to seek the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you should not just anyone. Go to the best shaykh. Best that you believe. Why? Because this is more important. Your heart. إذا صلح, the Prophet says to us, صلح كل شيء. Right? Everything. If the heart is safe, everything else is safe. But if the heart is not safe, then if, inshallah, everything else is good. Like at the end of the day, يوم لا ينفع مال ولا بنون إلا من أتى الله بقلب سليم. That day, nothing will help you except a pure heart. Ummi, Abi, not my father, not my mother, not my son, not my daughter. وقلبك سليم حياك الله. But if your qalb is not salim, يا ويلك من الله. Right? وليبالغ في تنقية قلبه الذي هو موضع نظر ربه. And let him exaggerate in purifying and cleaning, tanqiyah, in cleaning his heart. Because that's the first thing they say, al-tanqiyah or takhliyah qabla tahliyah. Purification before, first you purify. And then you have a vessel, for example, or a bowl. You first wash it, and you clean it, and then you pour whatever you want to pour. Don't pour honey in a dirty cup. First clean the cup, make sure it's pure, it's clean. And then you pour. يبالغ في تنقية قلبه. Exaggerate in purifying, not just purify, exaggerate in purifying, cleaning your heart. The heart that is موضع نظر ربه, محط نظر, محل نظر ربه, the place where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala looks at. وهذا تأويل. نحن أهل الصوفية. نحن لسنا صوفية. We're not Sufis. نحن متصوفة. We claim we are Sufi. Sufi. There's a فرق في اللغة بين صوفي ومتصوف. Right? A Sufi is someone that is حال عظيم مع Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is a manqaba, that is a maqam. That is a status. There's a difference between hal and maqam. What is the difference between hal and maqam? These are all akhlaq. These are all manners. The book we are studying is called Risalat Adab Suluk al-Murid. Adab. There's adab etiquette, adab مع الخلق وآداب مع الخالق سبحانه وتعالى. We have to have manners with the creation with one another, and we have to have good character and manners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? This is what he's teaching us. آداب مع الخالق ومع الخالق. How, صفات, these are all descriptions. And where is all that? That is in the heart. When you are dealing with one another, you treat people the way they say. Treat people the way you want to be treated. Treat people the way you want them to treat you. Right? Our mashayikh teach us treat people the way you want Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to treat you. Because people could make mistakes. Right? People, nobody's perfect. Like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you want people to forgive you. You want Allah to forgive you. Treat people with forgiveness. Treat people with rahmah, with mercy, with compassion, right? And you treat Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with that character. How does that happen? With Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He gave you the choice, for example, to be merciful and to be non-merciful. You be merciful with yourself. Because if you do wrong to yourself, you are hurting yourself. You're not hurting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. لكن أنت ظلمت. This is a dhulm. This is a type of dhulm. ظلمت وما إلا لنفسك يا فتى. ظلمت وظلم النفس من أقبح الظلم. Right? أو من أقبح الوصف. These ahwal, the difference between hal and maqam is a hal is you're trying. Because like I said, this is not something you can do and accomplish in one day. This is, it takes time. It takes time until you perfect it. Once you've perfected it, now it's called a maqam. Right? Now it's not a hal anymore. Like for example, al-karam, generosity.
you try first. You try to be generous. It's not easy. It's hard work money. You've worked hard for it. You try. I've been working 8 hours, and then the tax comes, and tax takes a portion of it too. And then I have gas to fill, and I have this, and I have that. This place, Al-Shaykh place, know your Prophet. We know our Prophet, right? Like you tell yourself, no, this will benefit me. This will benefit me. And let me give out, even if it's like $5. Let me try. Let me give out. The Prophet he was once with Sayyidina Aisha, and they were gifted a goat. And he told Sayyidina Aisha to give it out, sadaqah. And she was giving it out, and there was only left a dira, the katfi, the shoulder. And she left it for her husband. She left it for herself. And when he came, he said, is there anything to eat? Is there any food? And she said, Ya Rasulullah, the shah, the ghanama, the goat you gave us, the sheep, and I gave it all away. It's all gone, except for the shoulder. What did he say? It's all there except for the shoulder. And the shoulder is going to go, because we're going to eat it. But that yabqa, that remains, that stays. That has left, it's not gone. It's present in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's realm, in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's eyes. It's present. But this is going to go. صحح مفهومها فهمها. He corrected her the way she thinks. So when you come and you say, I'll just, this $5 that I'm going to give, this $5 I'm going to give, right? Tell yourself, this will remain, this will benefit me in the akhirah. The rest will just go. Tax will go, the gas money will go, but this, inshallah, and you try, right? You make it a habit. You try. Next Friday comes in, okay, another $5. Once that $5 is nothing to you, add $1. Now it's $6. So I'm giving out $6. It's not going to be as easy as the $5, but there's progress. There's what? There's progress. Sometimes you'll give it, sometimes you won't. Sometimes you'll give it, sometimes you want to give it, sometimes you don't want to give it. Sometimes there will be a khatir that Imam Haddad is saying, al-khawatir. There will be a whisper of the shaitan, don't give it, yeah. And you might listen, and you might not listen. Once you're still in that position, it's still called a hal. This sifa is not a hal. It's a situation you're in. You're kidding, you're generous, but sometimes you're not. Right? Like once you've, khalas, you have a habit of karam, of generosity. It's nothing to you. You reach the state where, like the Prophet ﷺ tells us, حَتَّى لَا تَعْلَمْ يَسَارُهُ مَا تُنْفِقُ يَمِينُهُ, until it reaches a point where even his left hand doesn't know what his right hand has given out. Why? Because whatever's in your pocket, you have a habit of being generous. You have a habit of giving out. Now this is not a hal anymore. This is a maqam. This is a state. This is a state. That's why you can be generous even if you are poor, more poor than someone that's for example, there's two people in the masjid. The administration, they come and they say, we need donations, we need, this. Someone gave $1,000, for instance, and someone gave $2. Perhaps that person that gave $2 is more generous than the person that gave $1,000. How? Because the person that gave $1,000, he's hesitant. You know what? Let me do this. You know what? I'll just do it. No, this will help me. This will benefit me in my akhirah. This is if he has a good intention. If he has the riyah and showing it off, that's another problem. Like, let's say they both have good intentions. They both have ikhlas, which he had the sincerity. But this person, he has $1,000 and he says, that hesitation is there for the first 2 seconds, and then he decides to follow his heart and he decides to follow the khatir al-hasan, and then he gives up his $1,000. The other person, he looks into his pockets, and that's what he has. If he had 200, or if he had 200,000, he would have given it. He has no hesitation. He's rasikh fi maqam al-karam. Right? He is in that state. He just gives it up. But that's what he has. But he would have given up more. So they say, dirham sabaqa alfa dirham. 1 dirham is greater in the eyes of Allah than alf dirham. How? There's someone that like this, like in this situation. It's not about numbers, it's not about quality, it's about these ahwal, these descriptions. When you do jihad, when you try, they become a maqam, and that's when you're a true Sufi. That's when you're a real Sufi. Right? And we're still beginners, all of us. We're not even beginners. We're the beginning of the beginners. بداية البداية. وليبالغ في تنقية قلبه الذي هو موضع نظر ربه. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala looks in the heart, like the Prophet says in the hadith, إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَنْظُرُ إِلَى صُوَرِكُمْ وَلَا إِلَى أَعْمَالِكُم. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not look at your faces, your outward appearances. He looks into your hearts. Right? And this is a ta'wil. Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah are us and mutasawwifah. Right? We believe in ta'wil, unlike other people that don't believe in ta'wil. Right? They say, no, nothing's ta'wil. This is ta'wil. This is a ta'wil. This is a clear ta'wil. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, Inna Allah. The Prophet he says, Inna Allah. Allah does not look at you. Allah does not look at our face. Okay? He doesn't have the ability to look at our faces. Allah looks at our face. لا يخفى عليه شيء. Nothing is hidden from Him. He sees our faces. He sees our appearances. What is the Prophet trying to tell us? He's like, the place where it's more important is your heart. This is ta'wil. Ta'wil wadih. It's a clear ta'wil. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is looking at your heart, meaning what your heart is more important than what's your outward a'mal, what's your outward actions, what's your outward states or situations. وَلْيَحْفَظْ أو يبالغ في الحفظ من الحقد. And he tells us examples. الحقد is being envy, having hasad. والغل والغش لأحد من المسلمين, and cheating. These are all diseases of the heart. Where is حقد? Where is kibr, enviness, and pride? Where is all that? That's all that disease of the heart. It's all in the heart. الغش والغل, cheating to any of the Muslims. من غشنا فليس منا. Prophet says, من غشنا, when you cheat. And again, it all comes back to how you want Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to treat you. Imagine for instance, you've prayed every night of Ramadan, Tarawih. Prayed Tarawih every night. And then you meet your Lord, and then He only accepts 29 of them. Or 28, because the month can be 29. He accepts 28 of them, and He chooses not to accept this one. And it's perfect, there's nothing, it's flawless. Why? I don't accept it. You don't want Allah to treat you that way. Right? You don't cheat with people. Because again, you want to treat people the way you want to be treated by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَمِنَ الْحَقِدِ, and having hasad. And having hasad and enviness, we'll come to it in detail, inshallah. وَلْيَكُنْ نَاصِحًا لَهُمْ رَحِيمًا بِهِمْ مُشْفِقًا عَلَيْهِمْ. The murid, these are the sifat al-Muslim, an ordinary Muslim. Forget, let alone the person that's seeking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. A Muslim should treat people the way that, with rahmah, with compassion, with mercy. نَاصِحًا لَهُمْ, advises them. And also accepts advice from people. The true Sufi, the true Muslim, the true believer, right? لا يغتر, right? إذا مدحه أحد. If someone praises you, if they praise you, if they say, أنت يا فلان, you are the qutb, you are the better, you are everything, right? This shouldn't, you shouldn't be affected by it. And if they say you are the worst person, you are the judge, right? You also shouldn't be affected by it. لا يغتر بالمدح ولا بالذم, right? لكن, because they don't know you, they don't know your reality. They do not know your reality. Only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows you. He subhanahu wa ta'ala, He knows your reality. I've heard this from Habib Ali al-Jafri personally, saying that, wallahi, those that praise you the most, in just a few seconds, they could be your worst enemies. Very possible. I'm sure it's happened to him. He's a political man. ولكن لا تغتر. Don't say, oh, mashallah, this guy, he loves me, he praises me, khalas, he's my, he's my number one. And that one that curses you, you never know. Tomorrow he could be your sadiq. He could be someone that you will benefit from. In fact, that's how it is. You should look at it that way. Those that curse you and those that say you are the worst, they might be honest. They might be true about it. And if someone says you are the Dajjal, you are the Shaitan, you are this, you have done this, you have done that. Once you're back in your khalwa with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, once you go back home, think about it, reflect on it. Is this sifat, this description that they're saying, true about you? If it is, then fix it. And take that advice, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sometimes can send those people to give you advice. Right? Sayyidina Umar ibn Khattab, he says, رحم الله المرء أهدى إلي عيوبي. May Allah have mercy on a person that gifts me. He calls it a hadiyah. This is a gift, someone that that's something that's aib about me and tells me it. This is a gift to this person. If it's true, then it's a gift. Be humble about it. Don't لا تتكبر لا تتعالى. So who are you? Look at it. Have you seen yourself? Have you seen yourself? No. That's not the had of al-Murid. It's not a had of someone that's seeking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's someone that's غاية في التواضع. Someone that Sayyidina Umar ibn Abdulaziz. And he is Umar ibn Abdulaziz, Khalifa al-Muslimin. He was the Imam of all the Muslims, not just a leader of a country or a leader of this state. No, he was Amir al-Mu'mineen, Khalifa al-Muslimin, all the Muslim nation. He had a guest. And in our tradition, it's our tradition to be generous with our guests. Ikram al-Dayf. The Prophet says, "Man kana yu'minu billahi wal yawmil akhir falyukrim dayfah." Right? He had a guest, and they were speaking with each other, and they were having a meal, and the wind came and blew, and the candle, because they didn't have electricity back then, the lights went off because the wind blew the candle. So the guest, he stood up and to light the candle again. And Sayyidina Umar ibn Abdulaziz said, "Makanak, stay at your place." And he stood. He said, "Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, and you are the king, you are the leader, and you are the sultan. You're standing up for me, and you're going to go do it." And he said, "Makanak." He went and he lit the lights. He got the candle to be lit again, and he came back to his spot, his place, and he said, "قمت وأنا عمر, ورجعت وأنا عمر." I stood up and I was Umar, and I came back and I was Umar. Look at the humble humility and the tawada. I stood up the way I was the same man. وهو أمير, he's the Amir. And the Amir al-Anbiya sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, when he was sitting down and eating on the ground, and the lady came and she said, "Man hada? Who is this?" يأكل كما يأكل العبد. She was trying to mock the Prophet. And he said, "إنما أنا عبد. I am nothing but a slave. I am nothing but a abd. أجلس كما يجلس العبد. وأكل كما يأكل العبد. sit the way a slave sits, and I eat the way a slave, because I am nothing but a slave. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. وَلْيَكُنْ نَاصِحًا لَهُمْ رَحِيمًا بِهِمْ مُشْفِقًا عَلَيْهِمْ. A hal of a mu'min, of a believer, is rahmah. Is rahmah. We have lost that. We have many huffaz, we have many preachers, we have people that are actually merciful to one another. Is يكاد أن يكون معدوما. It's almost extinct. Every salah say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, in the name of Allah, the most merciful, most compassionate. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. That's already 4 times in each rak'ah. And when we finish the salah, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi. We're in our prayers 5 times a day, in our tashahhud. Assalamu alayka ayyuhan nabi wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Assalamu alayna wa ala ibadillahi salih. We're praying for one another in our tashahhud, in our salah, in the beginning of it, in the end of it. Muslims, when we greet one another, what do we say? Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Assalamu alaikum, salam. It's part of rahmah. This rahmah we have for one another, we constantly say it, but we don't reflect. We don't think about it, right? So, act upon what you are saying. Because when you are in the prayer, you are having this conversation with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And one of these scholars, they would say, how will I ever feel depressed? And whenever I want to speak with Allah, I can. And whenever He speaks to me, I listen. How do I ever feel depressed? And whenever I want to, I can have a conversation with Allah. Either I speak with Him or He speaks with me. And they said, how do you speak with your Lord? And you say, Musa alayhi salam, Kalimullah, how do you speak with your Lord? And he said, إِذَا أَرَدْتُ أَنْ أُخَاطِبَهُ دَخَلْتُ فِي الصَّلَاةِ. If I want to speak with Him, I enter prayer. And if I want Him to speak to me, I will open His kalam. I will open the Quran. Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu. Ibn Abbas says, whenever you hear Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu in the Quran, listen carefully, because it's either an amr or nahy. It's either do this or do that. Allah is speaking to you, oh you who believe, oh this is a command to you. So be rahim to the Muslims. Be rahim even to the non-Muslims. Be rahim even to non-Muslims. Be rahim even to objects, even to animals, even to jamadat. be rahim. والذين يمشون على الأرض هونا وعباد الرحمن الذين يمشون على الأرض هونا. The servants of the Rahman, the slaves of the Rahman. You could have said any other description. وعباد المنان وعباد العزيز وعباد الودود. So he chose وعباد الرحمن, the slaves of the Rahman, the slaves of the servants of the Rahman. الذين يمشون على الأرض هونا. Even when they're walking on the earth, they walk with rahmah. They don't walk with arrogance. They don't walk with hitting the ground. They walk with rahmah. يمشون على الأرض. وإذا خاطبهم الجاهلون قالوا سلاما. Salama, when the arrogance, when they are mocked, or even when anyone speaks to them, we speak with peace to everyone. They speak with peace to al-Qarib wal-Ba'id. Someone that they like and someone that they don't like. They speak to everyone with peace and rahmah. معتقدا الخير فيهم يحب لهم ما يحب لنفسه من الخير ويكره لهم ما يكره لنفسه من الشر. As a mu'min, as a murid, you must. This is wajib. These sifat, these descriptions that Imam Haddad is telling us, they're all wajib. It's not a recommendation. This is asas deen. This is asas deen. In fact, the word qalb, as he's talking about here, qalb, it was mentioned. The word qalb, qaf, lam, ba, qalb, was mentioned in the Quran and in the Sunnah more than 200 times. Because how significant this qalb is, the heart is. It was this بالصراحة ذكرت صريحا. It was mentioned by its يعني root word قلب more than 200 times. Right? لكن بالمعنى يعني بالإشارة, right? The whole Quran and the whole Sunnah is one way or the other, it's referring to the qalb. One way or the other. From the beginning of Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim al-Fatiha ila Qul A'udhu bin-Nas and all the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam's Sunnah, they're all referring to the heart. Because everything, whether it's يعني khair or shar, has something to do with your heart. Right? معتقدا الخير في نفسه. These صفات, these أحوال القلوب is واجبة. It's واجب على جميع المذاهب. Whether you're Hanafi, Shafi'i, Maliki, Hanbali, this is واجب. Right? It's not something. Oh, this is not my madhab. No, this is واجب. على جميع المذاهب وعلى جميع المشارب. Whatever mashrab you have, whatever tariqa you have, right? Whatever sheikh you have, they will all agree on these principles. That these etiquettes, adab, is wajib. It's wajib. What is one of them? معتقدا الخير فيه. You have to have aqidah. You have to believe that you have to have husn al-dhann. This is what he's trying to say. You have to believe good in people. So husn al-dhann is wajib. It's not sunnah. Having good opinion is not sunnah, it's wajib. You have to have husn al-dhann. You must have husn al-dhann in people. That doesn't mean just blindly follow them. No. Someone, for example, for instance, you have doubt that this sheikh will, or this person, not necessarily to be a sheikh, this person is not responsible or is not reliable with the usage of money, for example. I'm not saying he cheats, but he's not reliable in letting him have your money. Are you going to give him your donations? No. You be cautious. You be cautious, you be careful. But لا تسوء الظن. Don't have bad opinions of him. Have husn al-dhann, but you're also cautious. Does that make sense? فحسن الظن اعتقاد الخير في الغير هذا واجب, right? لا تعلم, you never know. They could have a better state with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They could be worse, but like I said many times, that صاحب حسن الظن, the person that has good opinion, he is always right, even if he's wrong. And the person that has سوء الظن, he is always wrong, even if he's right. Right? He could be right. For example, he thought this person was a bad person, and it so happened that person is bad. But you are wrong for your opinion. يحب له ما يحب لنفسه من الخير ويكره له ما يكره لنفسه من الشر. He likes for them the khair, just like how he likes for himself khair. He dislikes for them shar, the opposite of khair, harm. He dislikes for them any type of shar. The way he dislikes for himself any type of shar. Right? ولتعلم أيها المريد, know, O seeker, أن للقلب معاصي, that the heart has sins. See, do you want to read?
Well, sure, okay.
Yeah.
How much do you want? I'll just take a paragraph and you can tell me.
Marhaba.
Know, disciple, that the heart commits sins, which are uglier, fouler, and more offensive than those committed by the limbs. A heart remains unfit for the direct knowledge of God and His love to descend into it until it rids itself of all such things. Amongst the worst sins of the heart are arrogance, ostentation, and resentful envy. Arrogance is the proof of great foolishness, excessive ignorance, and stupidity, for it is unbecoming of the one who knows that he was made from a drop of fetid semen and soon enough will end up a decaying corpse. If he possesses virtues and good qualities, they are but gracious gifts of God's making. None of it was achieved by his own power, nor acquired by his own strength and cleverness. When he behaves with arrogance towards the servants of God, employing in so doing the gifts that God has graciously bestowed upon him, does he not fear that by behaving discourteously and attributing to himself what belongs to God, that he might take away everything from him? Pride is an attribute of God, the compeller of the proud.
ولتعلم أيها المريد, know, O seeker, أن للقلب معاصي هي أفحش وأقبح وأخبث من معاصي الجوارح. Know that the heart has sins that are worse and uglier than the sins of the other limbs. Now, why? Because again, the heart is more significant than the other limbs. It's more important than the other limbs, and it's the ruler. It controls everything else. It controls everything else, like I mentioned at the beginning of the class. Even it controls the aql, the mind, the intellect. The heart controls it. القلب. ولا يصلح القلب لنزول معرفة الله ومحبته تعالى إلا بعد التخلي عنها والتخلص منها. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not honor your heart to be gazed upon. Allah will not look into your heart. He will not pour into your heart al-hikmah or the wisdom unless it is clean, unless you are and you avoid these sins that he's going to mention. What are the sins? There are many sins. The book Ihya al-Din al-Muwazali, يعني ما شاء الله تبارك الله, he's mentioned a huge portion of them. قوت القلوب, Imam al-Makki mentioned even Kitab Bidayat al-Hidayah, the book, the beginning and apprentice and all that. Our Mashaykh would say that the one that studies it and acts upon it will see the Prophet Sallallahu. The book Bidayat al-Hidayah, right? And he mentions here some of them, a portion of them. Like in this book as well, رسالة Adab Suluk al-Murid, يعني من عمل بها, يعني when you read it and you act upon, نرجو من الله له النفع. And we believe that this book, يعني whoever acts upon it, is someone close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, someone that's near, because that's what matters. Right? That's what matters. It's not, يعني, do you love Allah? He says, لا يصلح القلب لنزول معرفة الله ومحبته. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves you. Right? إلا بعد التخلي عنها, except that you avoid these sins. Because it's not that whether you love Allah or not. Every Muslim loves Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There's not a single Muslim that says, I will not love Allah. Lakin, are you loved by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Am I loved by Allah? That is the question. That is the real question. فمن أفحشها, the worst of the sins are al-kibr, being mutakabbir, being someone that is full of themselves, pride, being someone that has arrogance. Now, arrogance, and in fact, it was the one of the first sins that was sinned. That what did Iblis do when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told all the malaika to bow down to Sayyidina Adam? He said why? See, the question is not a problem. Him questioning Allah is not a problem, because even the angels, they questioned. They said, why are we وإذ قال ربك للملائكة إني جاعل في الأرض خليفة قالوا أتجعل فيها من يفسد فيها ويسفك الدماء. يعني, are you creating someone that will when Allah told them, I will create a khalifa in the earth, they said أتجعل فيها من يفسد فيها, are you creating someone that they will kill each other? Right? And that's what happened. قابيل قتل هابيل, two sons of Sayyidina Adam. And the way I memorized it was Qabil and Habil, they were both brothers. Qabil qatala, qaf qaf. Qabil qatala, Habil hawaba. Habil. If you get confused, that's one way to know. Qabil qatala Habil. And every person that is dead today, he will get a portion of that sin. Because هو أول من سن سنة القتل. He is the first one that killed an innocent life. Right? This is الدماء now we have in today. What's happening in Gaza, for example. Gaza Hashim, Prophet, some great grandfather, is buried there. Gaza, رجال عزة بلد العزة كشفت عن وجوه حقيقة كثيرة والله مخفية. لكن what's happening in Gaza? All these innocent lives. بشارة لهم يدخلون الجنة إن شاء الله. لكن ظلما without without them doing anything that made them dying acceptable. Not innocent lives are dying. We see this every day. Right? And us seeing this every day is some sort of sickness. Allah, other day I was reading and I followed it a lot. And one of the tweets, or I think in the news, it said 16 innocent lives were killed. And the first thing I said to myself was, only 16? I'm used to, this amount of money, this huge amount of innocent lives. But you see that this was, I had that khatir at only 16, because why? Because we're seeing, this amount. That's wrong. Even one life. Allah. بل the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم says in the hadith, لو أجمع أهل المشرق أو معنى الحديث لو اجتمع أهل المشرق وأهل المغرب كلهم, if the whole universe, everyone on the planet, we have what, 8 billion, they say? 7,999,000,000 agreed to kill one innocent life. One innocent life. لأكبهم جميعا على في النار. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will throw all of them in hellfire. They all gather together in one innocent life. Right? فهذا منكر وواجب علينا كمسلمين. This is upon us. واجب علينا أن ننكر المنكر. Right? الأمر بالمعروف والنهي عن المنكر. Right? And the Prophet says, the أقل درجة, the lowest is at least you dislike it in your heart. من رأى منكم منكرا فليغيره بيده. If someone sees a munkar, let him change this from it's negative to something positive with his hands if he can. أو بلسانه, or at least let him preach and say this is wrong. This is wrong. If you can't physically fix it, and you can't physically, you can't speak about it. أقل درجة الإيمان, the lowest is بقلبي, at least you say يا رب, this is الظالم, يا رب يا رب إني أبرأ إليك من فعل هؤلاء. Allah, you know that, Ya Allah, I do not agree with what he's doing or what they are doing. But silence, and even you having some sort of silence in your heart, أيضا also no, this is not acceptable. This is not acceptable. But you can تكون شريك في القتل. We think that we are innocent, but this is a wahm. What do I mean by this is a delusion? Because if you don't in your heart agree that this is wrong, you think you are innocent, but you may not be innocent. What if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the day of resurrection says to your abdi, you've seen the people there, what's happening in Sudan, what's happening in Marseille, what's happening anywhere. This is happening, and you've heard this, you've seen this, or you've witnessed this, right? And لم يتحرك فيك شعرة. Your heart was never, never felt, some sense of discomfort, right? لم يتمعر وجهك. You didn't even feel sad. And you think you're going to be innocent. Oh, at least I didn't pull the trigger. It doesn't work that way. It does not work that way. أنت أيها المؤمن من لم يهتم بأمر المسلمين فليس منهم. Who does not care about the Muslims is not among them. هذا شهادة رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. This is what the Prophet said. It's not my saying, ولا زيد ولا عمر. This is the قول الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم. من لم يهتم بأمر المسلمين فليس منهم. So you have to have you have to try, you have to act upon this. You have to act upon this. أفحشها الكبر والرياء والحسد. Right? He says, فالكبر يدل من صاحبه على غاية الحماقة. When someone is arrogant, that is a hint that that person is extremely stupid. That person is extremely stupid. He has reached a maximum level of stupidity. Why? Because why? كيف يليق الكبر? How is someone كيف يليق الكبر ممن يعلم أنه مخلوق من نطفة مذرة وعلى القرب يصير جيفة قدرة. You know, your beginning was شيء قدر. Your beginning was scientifically semen and water. Your beginning is water, and at the end you will go to a grave. if you're what I'm saying فأنت بالقلب أو بالروح إنسان بالجسم إنسان. When you leave, your soul leaves your body. 2-3 days, the most loved people will not cannot sit next to you. You start to stink, and you notice. كيف تتكبر? How do you how are you arrogant? Right? How are you arrogant? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the hadith al-Qudsi, الكبر ردائي فمن نازعني منه قسمته ولا أبالي. In the معنى الحديث that kibr is my description. Allah al-Mutakabbir, we say Ya al-Mutakabbir, Ya al-Muta'al, is one of the names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is worthy of arrogance. ومن نازعني, if you take that description of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will punish you. Again, it's أخلاق أحوال مع الخلق ومع الخالق. It's haram to have kibr with al-khalq, with one another, with creation. But it is kufr to have kibr with the Creator. Subhanahu wa ta'ala. Kibr, one another, is a great sin. Like when you have kibr على الله, تتكبر على من؟ على الله. تتكبر على من؟ على رسول الله. هذا الآن خط أحمر. This is right now, you have arrogance with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You have arrogance with Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Like for example, someone has a beard, a big beard, mashallah, and you don't like the beard. Okay, no problem. But you don't like the sunnah of the beard. Okay, now we have a problem. As a kibr ala Rasulillah. هذا sunnah to Rasulillah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Right? This is the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. من سنته صلى الله عليه وسلم الكبر, he used to comb it, and he used to take care of it. Right? Not a type of beard that كما يقول أحد مشايخنا that كل شعرة تهرب من أختها. Every hair is trying to run away from the hair next to it. No, you comb it, you take care of it. كان يدهنها, you put some oil, you take care of it. And نظافة من سنة رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. ونهاية الجهالة وكيف يليق التكبر بمن يعلم. نعم. You read this? وإن كان عنده شيء من الفضائل المحاسن فذلك من فضل الله وسنته. If you have kibr because you see yourself, who gave it to you? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So look at that. Don't look at what you have. Look at who gave it to you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when he spoke to our beloved sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and he said, وَأَمَّا بِنِعْمَتِكَ فَحَدِّثْ. What did he say? وَأَمَّا بِنِعْمَتِكَ رَبِّكَ فَحَدِّثْ. Because this ni'mah is from your Lord. Speak to it. Tell the people about your ni'mah. That's why the hal of the mu'min is, even if he's poor, even if he's going through challenges, he doesn't show people that he's going through these difficulties. He shows people that Allah an'am alayna, I'm doing good, alhamdulillah. How are you? كيف الحال؟ والله يا أخي يعني my bank account is not zero, it's negative. You know, and يعني rent is waiting, and والله no, say alhamdulillah, say alhamdulillah, and you go out. One of my scholars would say that even if you have nothing at home, and the fridge is empty, they don't even have fridge. In some countries, they already know this is bid'ah. They have no fridges. And even if you have nothing, you have to use oil and act like you ate. Yeah, because you don't show people that you are in need, you need them. Even if it comes to the point where there's أحيانا السؤال يجوز, asking people is جائز في الشريعة أحيانا. Even if it comes to that situation, you ask them, but in your heart you're asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah, I'm doing this because, for example, I have children, but you ask them, لكن لا تنظر إليهم, لا تنظر إلى الخلق, لا تنظر إليهم. Only look at what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, only look towards Allah, don't look at people. As a da'i, as a Muslim, as a seeker, as someone that is seeking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's path, تتوكل على الله في جميع الأحوال. توكل على الله في جميع الأحوال. You only rely on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One of my friends, alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed him with a crowd of people that he teaches, alhamdulillah, in Southeast Asia. And mashallah, his students or people that participate or attend these majalis more than 100, mashallah. And mashallah, it's full. And he has I believe that he's mashallah, that's someone very close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He never once, and he goes through difficulties, he never once asked anyone anything. Never once asked him. And the rich would come, the wealthy would come and attend these classes. And a lot of wealthy are used to the people, these mashayikh saying, mashallah, I have a daughter and she's going through difficulty, she's going through surgery. I would appreciate if you just, They didn't see that. Ibni, he's graduating, he's going to this school, he's finished high school, he's going to this university, what can you do? They've attended these majalis and see this guy is different. This guy, he's not, they were expecting that. They didn't see it. What happens? يُسَخِّرُ اللَّهُ لَكَ قُلُوبَهُم. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you their hearts. Because you see, this guy is Aziz, this guy doesn't need us. We need him. We need him. يقدر فيكم عزة الله. When you have the dunya, رأس كل خطيئة. We will say it in the end. رأس كل خطيئة. The head of all the sins is حب الدنيا. Why? How is حب الدنيا, loving this dunya, the principle or the main, the biggest of all sins? How is it? Because when you have حب الدنيا in your heart, what happens? Everything you do in the ibadah, everything you do in this deen, everything you do, whether you think it's khair, you're not doing it for Allah, you're doing it for yourself, for a portion of this dunya. You might be praying, you're praying because riyah. You might be sadaqah, riyah. You might have kibr, you might have all these amrad. Why? Because your ultimate goal is the dunya. Is the dunya, to have a rank, to be someone that's known, to be someone that's well respected, is because of حب الدنيا. حب الدنيا الذي أتى someone came to one of the sultans, أظن أحد الملوك العباس, and he said to him, glass of water please, glass of water. And so he had a glass of water, and he said, Amir al-Mu'mineen, oh king, if you were to, if I have this glass of water now, he's speaking to the king, he said, this glass of water, if I said to you, there's no water, for instance, there's no water, the only water that is available, that exists, is half of this glass. I will give it to you for all, or half of your kingdom. Half of your kingdom. Right? He's the king. Half of your kingdom, half of everything you own, for half of, and you're thirsty. You're going to die of thirst. Are you going to refuse? There's no water. and you were dying of thirst, and this is the only water available, and I will sell you half this glass for half of your kingdom. So of course I'm going to buy it. Life is, you know, we say, and I'm saying, somebody is saying, الروح غالية, meaning that, you know, when it comes to it, your life is precious. Life is precious. So هب أنك شربته. Let's say you drank it, and we've done that transaction. Yani half of your kingdom for half a glass of water. It's done. Now you've drank it, and now your thirst is quenched. And you're not thirsty anymore. What happens next after someone eats and drinks? They need to use the washroom, right? هب أن الله سبحانه وتعالى, right? Let's say, for instance, مسك عليك البول. Yani you can, because we have a tradition in our deen that when we leave the washroom, when we exit from the washroom, what do we say? غفرانك الحمد لله الذي أذهب عني الأذى وعافاني. Right? Oh, غفرانك, Ya Allah, we seek your forgiveness, and we thank Allah because that's a ni'mah. When you feel relieved when you exit the washroom. So let's suppose that yani, it's stuck in there and you can't leave, and you really need to use the washroom, and you cannot use the washroom, right? And I can cure that with half the second half of your kingdom, the rest of your kingdom, right? I'm the doctor, for instance, and I will cure that model, that illness, with the next half. And would you stay in pain, or would you just he said, تبا للدنيا تبا للدنيا الله سبحانه تبت يدا أبي لهب وتب, right? تبا للدنيا لم تسوى, you know, forget, or يعني woe to a dunya that is not valuable of يعني لا تسوى شربة ماء ولا مشربة بول. it's the whole dunya. If you look at it, then in that case, it's water is more important or valuable than this dunya, and al-afiyah. That's what they say. اللهم نسألك العافية والعافية. Having the afiyah is more important. Afiyah, right? So when you have this dunya, التي when you have, for example, this kibr, when you have this riyah, this hasad is a sign that you have hubb dunya. Even if you are someone that is knowledge. Iblis أعلم أهل الأرض. Iblis, he knows mashallah, all of that, from all 12 madhabs. They used to say, Sayyidatna Aisha, she had a madhab. Sayyidina كثير مذاهب كانت موجودة انقرضوا. Why? Because لم يجدوا خدمة. They didn't find these four madhabs are not the only madhabs. These four madhabs remained because they found that they were fortunate enough to have scholars that revived them, right? Iblis, he knows all the madahib, all the aqwal. لكن هل ينفعه العلم? Does knowledge benefit him? Right? You can be a huge scholar, but have kibr. There's a story, they say there was a scholar that went to ride, he was going from A to B, and in order to go from A to B, he had to be on a boat. So he was sailing with a young boy, and he was speaking to the boy and said, "Ya ibni, oh son, هل تعلم علم النحو? Do you know the science of nahu?" And he said, "No." هل تعلم علم الصرف? You know the science of sarf? No. هل درست البلاغة? Have you ever studied rhetoric? بلاغة? Rhetoric. I said, لا. هل درست الفقه؟ لا. هل درست المنطق logic؟ لا. هل درست السيرة؟ هل درست الحديث؟ هل درست التجويد؟ هل درست أصول الفقه؟ هل درست فروع الفقه؟ هل درست all this and all these sciences? He said, لا. I'm just a simple little, I'm just a sailor, I'm a simple sailor. And he said, يا ابني ضيعت نصف عمرك. And you've wasted half of your life. You've wasted half of your life. And the kid, he felt bad, he felt heartbroken. He said, Ya Allah, khalas, what can I do? I just have the rest of the next half left. Alhamdulillah, Inshallah, he made the intention that, when I meet this Shaykh, I will try, inshallah, begin on study. And so while they were sailing, both يعني wind came and waves came. He said, يا شيخ حبيبي هل درست السباحة؟ Have you studied how to swim? He said, لا. He said, يا شيخ ضيعت عمرك كلها.
Allah.
You wasted your entire life. So الكبر هذه يعني when someone has arrogance and kibr, يعني that is a sign that the universe, Allah is sending the universe to you. تواضع be humble يعني be humble or يعني have humility or you will be humiliated. Be humble or you will be humbled.
Who Allah?
نعم هو الله. وأنا في تحصيله وأمر الرياء إن شاء الله الشيخ goes on, but درس طال وإن شاء الله we'll pause إن شاء الله here. نقول له الإمام أظن one of the scholars نسيت اسمه الله أعلم. He says إذا طال المجلس كان للشيطان منه نصيب. If the majlis is longer than it's supposed to be, right? Shaitan will take a part of it. How? Because يأتي الكسل والخمول ويأتي بعدين you hate the teacher, I'm not a teacher but you start so خير الكلام ما قل ودل. The best of is القليل لكن is profound. نسأل الله سبحانه وتعالى أن ينفعنا بما علمنا وأن يعلمنا ما ينفعنا وأن يفتح لنا فتوح العارفين وأن يفرج على أمة سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم ويفرج عن بلدان المسلمين ولا سيما في أهل غزة وأهل فلسطين وأن الله سبحانه وتعالى يفرج على أهل السودان وعلى أهل اليمن والشام وأن الله سبحانه وتعالى يفرج على جميع أهل الإسلام حيثما كانوا وأينما كانوا. أن الله سبحانه وتعالى ينور قلوبنا ويصلح قلوبنا وينقي قلوبنا ويصفي قلوبنا. أن الله سبحانه وتعالى يأخذنا بأيدينا إليه أخذ أهل الفضل والكرم عليه. ونسأله أن لا يعاملنا بسوء أفعالنا وأن يعاملنا بكرمه وإحسانه وجوده وفضله وامتنانه. ونسأله ذلك كله ما نويتموه وما نواه أهل الصدق وما نواه السلف الصالح وما نواه مشايخنا في الدين وما نواه سيد المرسلين من صالح النيات وإلى حضرة النبي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. الفاتحة. آمين. جزاكم الله خير والعافية.
He just announced the next will be Wednesday, 14th February, inshallah.
The next majlis inshallah will be Wednesday, 14th February. بإذن الله تعالى إذا أطال الله الأعمار.